Big Sales National Football Show. Appreciate Phil Simms coming on with us. Also at 5:30 Eastern, Mike Golick is going to join us. And we go to our friend and our expert and the guy who's helped me around Philadelphia sports and a Philadelphia sports fan is JAKIB. How you doing, Garry?
Good, good. I know those guys who played with Golick.
Golick Mike was on the team with you. That's right, man.
Yeah.
Those guys are good dudes, man. I've been friends with Phil because of Robustelli. And so back in the day, hey, you and me growing up back then, I don't know if you were a Giant fan, but I was because of Andy.
Uh-huh.
And so, I got a chance to go over to the Giants all the time, and I met George Young. And, Robustelli was general manager of the Giants for a bit.
Yeah, I know he was. Yeah, he was. It's just kind of amazing that, of course, when you know him, you're a kid, you don't realize
who he is.
The things a person has accomplished and where they're, Hall of Famer and everything. And you don't realize it because he came to your Little League game, or mainly he was a lot of times he was the celebrity there at the different banquets we had, Him
and Jackie Robinson used to do that when you and me were kids. He'd show these guys are showing up to our events. Hey, here's Jackie Robinson as an MC at the Little League Babe Ruth Kids League in Stamford, Connecticut. You're like,
that's right.
Okay. That was just a common thing for me. How great is that to grow up like that, Garry?
That's believe me, I sit back and think, and I was telling my wife, I'm going like, now how could I not got a picture or something with them and stuff? Went up there. I probably do, but it's like a group picture and everything. But you don't know the significance of the people you're around. As a kid, all you know is, hey, the guy comes to my Little League banquet, and but that was tremendous, and I got to give them a lot of credit in the fact that they didn't think they were too big to come and do that, and it says a lot about the quality of the people. They were good people, and I was very fortunate to come up in that kind of environment. Because
me too.
You have people that'll be honest and tell you. And I think that's a lot of what needs to happen now is a lot of times you got young kids coming up and nobody will sit them down and tell them the truth, Now back then they weren't afraid to do that either. Look, if you were getting out of line, they didn't have people, the coaches didn't have a problem. Look, hey, come here. And they would tell you the truth. I know my dad would. So, it's good to have people like that because, times you see kids doing things, they're going to end up paying a price for it. And, because they might be too big or whatever, nobody tells them, hey, look, dude, come here. Close the door. What are you doing? Because people need that. And a lot of times you see the young kids, you're going, look, man, you cannot keep doing that. You're going to take yourself down. And so at times, that's kind of some of the things, get involved in really doing for the league is talking to guys.
That's right. I gotta start here with, I said this about Jason Kelce's retirement speech yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That reminded me of the things that you were just talking about, all the things, thanking people, going on the journey. And, someone goes, so are you sad for him? I go, no, those were tears of sadness. Those were tears of thankfulness.
Mm-hmm.
Those were tears of like you were just talking, the journey you go on, the people that are there at every level, every turn, there's always someone there. That was my takeaway. What was your takeaway from a guy that means so much to Philadelphia?
Well, the thing is he is a Philadelphia guy, meaning that he's not too big to go put in the work, and that's why I'm happy for his success and everything because nobody handed him anything. Nobody handed him anything, and he's a guy who on the team will be emphasizing, look, we got to be ready to play. A guy that's going to be a good advisor, and he's just football. I mean, and he's tough, and he's tough-minded, and I can appreciate guys like that because ultimately, whatever you do, you're going to have to get in there, and there's going to be a grind part where you're not sure whether it's going to be successful or is it not, and you got to get in there and put in the work, and that's where Jason comes from. That's where Philly comes from. That's where At least, you know, the level-headed people in Philly, that's where they come from. No, nobody's handing you anything. You know, that's not the way it is. You got to go in there, put in the work. And I can appreciate him because, you know, he wasn't like he just, you know, like I said, was a, you know, guy that's drafted like some of these kids are going to be drafted very high where they're just going to lay it out on a platter, you know. No, he's had to go in and put in the work, and he's just a tremendous. I mean, you don't realize he's the type of athlete he is until you see him play, because you're standing there with him going like, what's the big deal? Well, watch it. Look at some of this tape.
That third level getting up on them pulls, man. I mean,
That's right.
I was just talking to Phil. Phil said the same thing. You don't pull centers, you pull guards. And he's up on the third level.
He changed it. See, he changed the game from that standpoint because, as you just said, you don't pull centers. What are they doing pulling the center? Well, when you see him get out there and work, then you realize, okay, that's why they pulled that center, you know. And really the kid around him, or the kid backing him up, Jurgens, they really were looking for another, you know, Jason Kelce. That's why they drafted him, and they had him kind of pick him out because Jurgens is an outstanding athlete, and he's going to be able to hopefully continue that that pattern because, you know, there have been you know, different teams which have had, you know, a special player, let's say at a special position. You see what Dallas has done down there at the wide receiver position, where they're having these guys wear the same jersey. I mean, I think that's something special. And I could see where hopefully the Eagles can start doing that at the center position where you got, you know,
have Kelce, have Jurgens wear Kelce 62.
What's that?
Have Jurgens wear Kelce 62 and carry the 88 tradition on like they do in Dallas.
They could do that. They could do that because Jurgens is a lot like him. He's an athlete, you know, which you don't see athletes like that at the center position because, you know, Kelce's a special athlete at the center position. You don't see centers doing what he did, you know, and that's why you take your hat off to him. Then also because he is a quote unquote Philly guy, which is they appreciate people that are tough, people that are fighters. And that's what Jason is. He's a battler, he's a fighter, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot of success at whatever he does going forward, man, because the people like where he's coming from, and I like where he's coming from. I mean, because he's a guy that believes in going in there, getting the job done, and doing what you got to do it. So no apologies. You ain't making no apologies. If he you know, put somebody on their back, no apologies, dude. No apologies.
Hey, Garry, what if you are taking a poll and you're asking, I'm not going to say who the greatest Eagle is. I'm going to ask you who the most revered Eagle is in our lifetime here. Is it Reggie, Brian Dawkins, Jason Kelce, or other?
Woo, I don't think it's other. I think it's one of those guys. I mean, and really,
I'm not saying. Look, Reggie's the best player of them all.
I'll probably say Reggie is the best player.
But who is going to be more revered by the city more, Reggie, Dawkins, or Kelce?
Now, you know that's an impossible question. Because when Dawkins left there, I thought he reached a level which, you know, I mean, Dawkins played, you know, the way he played the game and the way he communicated. And you see the same thing with Jason, is that you got guys that are able to communicate and they make a connection with the city. And I didn't think anybody could do it better than Doc. I mean, people, you know, because, you know, you have people coming up to you and you're almost crying and stuff. I'm going, relax, because they're talking about Dawkins, you know, when he was playing and when he retired and everything. And now you got the same thing going on because, you know, I was down in Florida. I just got back from Florida. I'm down there and the people are talking about him talking. It wasn't just a local thing. That was a national thing going on.
But Gary, a center.
I
Think
know.
about a center. We're not talking about a quarterback, receiver, running back, linebacker retiring.
Yeah.
A center.
I know.
I've never seen a center this revered in my life from anybody. And he's not just a local story.
Yeah.
He's a national story. I mean, I've never seen anything like this coverage for a guy who is in an innocuous position. And I don't mean that by any kind of disrespect, because it's an important position.
Yes.
But I'm talking about guys are like behind the scene kind of guys.
That's right. That's right. Well, you know, he just something about him, and the way he's genuine about stuff, and he's just been an outstanding communicator, because he's shared, you know, because you know, when the reporters go in there every week, you know, sometimes it gets all where, you know, guys are just in there, blah, 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 blah. You know, you're not even halfway listening to the guy, but he's done a great job. He's just, I think he's a great communicator. I mean, he really connected with the people of Philadelphia, the fans, and really all over the country, because he doesn't try to be somebody he's not. But to see a guy who, people would say is your average Joe, and to be as great a player as he is, you know, and then to be able to just be straight up about it, you know, I got to take my hat off to him. I mean, he just definitely has connected with people. Like I said, I'm down in Florida, and the people are on me about Jason Kelce. Are you looking at it? You see Jason Kelce? I'm going like, man, you guys aren't even Eagle fans.
Right. You're talking about a center's retirement.
Amazing.
Speech. And I'm with you. I got everyone going, did you see that speech? What'd you make of it? And I'm like, was genuine.
When I was on the plane, that's what they're asking me, you know, what do you think of the speech, you know? And just the guy, and you know, you stand there talking to him. He's the same guy. He doesn't, you know, he's not trying to make you think he's somebody he's not. And that appeal, I guess that is something that you don't see a lot as much as you have in the past.
Okay, well, wait now. No. Do you think he stays retired? Do you think the Eagles call him in week 8? You didn't have to play. Now check it out, Gary. Watch this. You don't have to go through OTAs, mini camp, training camp. You missed the first 8 games. Maybe there's a nick to Cam, or there's an injury in the O-line at right guard. You put Cam back over. You bring Kelce in for the final 8.
Wow.
You think, could that be could that be something that is not that crazy to say?
Well, you know, I know it would be hard for him. He could get in a situation where it could be very difficult for him to turn it down. You know, it could get that way. And, you know, I'm sure any of us that have played the game, you look back sometime going, man, you know, you're going to the game and you're going, man, I wish I was down there today.
Hey,
you know?
Gary, how many times did you do this? How many years after did it take you to stop doing this? Hey, I got 10 plays left in me. Hey, I got 15, 20 plays left in me, man. And then by the time you get up there, you're 40, you start to hit 40, you're like, oh, maybe I don't got a play left. I got a half a play left. Maybe I got a practice play left. I mean, it eventually wears you out, but, man, it takes a long time to get away from that girl, doesn't it?
He is definitely going to go through that. There's no question, because I know, come on, not just all the guys go through that. And so he's definitely going to get that. And they probably, who knows, depending on how things are going, they would say, hey, you know, man, we could really use you, man. We could really use you, boy. You know, and, you know, chances are you got young guys, they start out struggling a little bit. That wouldn't be a shock. So he's definitely probably going to get in that situation, but I don't think he's going to come back, though. I don't think he will, but he's going to be very tempted. He's going to be very tempted, because you see, he didn't just at the end of the season, okay, I'm gone. So he knows he could play another season if he really wanted to. He could give them some good games.
Is this Eagle team now leaderless?
Now that's going to be that's a good question, and I think they lost one of their best leaders. I think there's no doubt about that. Jason was one of their best leaders. So I can't say they're leaderless, but you know what? We could get in this season and find out they are, but hopefully they won't be. But they lost one of their best leaders. There's no doubt about that. I think they know that.
Brandon Graham, there's talks that they may want to bring him back at the right price. Are you open to that, or is it time to move on? Or is it because Kelce leaving on what we're just talking about, there's not a lot of leadership on that side of the football, Gary? Now, here's a guy that's not going to play a ton of reps. Can you still be a leader by not having a lot of production on the team, even though his name means a lot in that locker room?
Well, I think that, your point right there that, yeah, Brandon, his value has gone up with Jason leaving. No doubt about that. So I do think that that's going to make it a impetus that they say, yeah, we'll bring him back just so we don't have, that you got two of the key guys in the leadership positions to leave. So I definitely think what that does is he probably could call. He needs to call Jason and say, "Hey, thanks, man. They called me today, and we got the deal done." You're right. No doubt about it. I think that that's going to help them to make a decision on Brandon that they're going to want to bring him back. No doubt about it.
How about the Fletcher Cox stuff? That looks like he's going to be calling it too, and he may get one of these days in a send-off. And I said this about him, Gary, and this is me from 30,000 feet. You were there looking him in the eye.
Yeah.
60-some-odd sacks. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's on an all-decade team. He was the 13th player taken. I could make the argument, when I look at interior lines, because I look at Clyde Simmons and Reggie more as perimeter guys and defensive ends. But when I look at the tackle position, Hollis Thomas, Corey Simon, guys like that, then I look at Jerome, of course, and you throw him in there, you can make the argument that Fletcher Cox has been the greatest interior defensive tackle in the Super Bowl era.
I think you could make a strong argument there. I think you could. I think last year you see, at the end of his career, playing at the level he did,
6 sacks,
and still being a dominant player in there. I definitely think that was a big plus for him. And a lot of times, I don't think the interior linemen get unless you just sacks. But
times, like Donald.
Yeah, but a lot of times they're doing other things, keeping the linebackers clean. Where you're eating up 2 guys, and you're able to you're not getting blown off the ball, and you're eating up 2 guys. And you're letting other people make plays. A lot of times the defensive tackles don't get the credit that they deserve unless they're making the tackle. And it's not about making the tackle all the time. A lot of times it's keeping that linebacker free, and he's able to go make the tackle, and everybody's making a big deal out of him. But he goes back and say, "Hey, man, thank you." And you look at the game and you see somebody doing that, because a lot of times that's what defensive tackles have to do, especially if they're good. They're gonna put 2 guys on them, and if they're making some plays with 2 guys on them all the time, that says a lot, and that's where Fletcher has been for a lot of his career.
Absolutely. Finally, here, I have to get your take here on where you are in the draft at 22. Do you believe they go safety or corner or OT or linebacker? And just to give you a little bit, because I'm probably guessing you already know this, really deep at O-line this draft. One of the best offensive line drafts in a long time. It's deep at wideout. It's deep at corner. Where do you think they go in that pick? Do you think they trade down, or do you think they trade up? How do you think they handle that 22? And again, that could move up or down or out after May 5th here. So just March 5th, just to get your thoughts.
Okay, well, you can scratch the safety out. They don't draft safeties that high. They would draft. They'll look at the cornerback position, the defensive tackle, and I can't see them doing defensive tackle because you just got to
Right. That'd be 3 years in a row.
Yeah. So I don't think defensive tackle. I think you're talking. I think the corner position is probably one that's very right, because you look at what you got at wide receiver. Now, if there's somebody special, which you got some special guys, but I probably would believe, I think it's going to be a corner.
Hey, you know what, too, Gary? And I'll say this to you, that after what we saw with them eating $85 million in Denver of Russell Wilson's cap hit.
Yeah.
For me, I'll tell you what, would you be open to eating some of Bradbury's cap hit and just kicking him out of there and getting a corner in there out of the draft and put him on the other side of Slay?
I would. At times, I hear them talking, and it sounds like they know that they're not crazy about going that way, even though they could be playing a game. See, they could be playing a game. But I would definitely. I'm thinking corner, and yes, I'm thinking about getting somebody that you or you comfortable that's going to be able to be there for the next 6, 7, 8 years that you put over there, and you got a guy, because they value that corner position. So that's what I think that they're going to go. I can't see defensive tackle, because the last couple of years of defensive tackle, I couldn't scratch out offensive tackle. I couldn't scratch that out, because they're always thinking that way, and you got guys getting older, and of course with Lane Johnson, they don't know how much longer he's going to play. So if they got somebody they like, so it's cornerback or offensive tackle, I think.
Absolutely, Gary. Thank you for finding time for me, friend. I really appreciate it always. Thank you, Gary.
All right, hey, have a good one.
You got it, Gary Cobb. I think it's going to be interesting what they do at 22 as well. In hour number 3, Mike Golick is going to join us, former Eagle himself, former partner with Mike Greenberg for Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio. You guys listen to him. He's going to join us at 5:30 Eastern. Hit the like button. I got to tell you, man, at least Phil finally came in. Hour 4. Yeah, okay. Xander just goes like this. Hour 4, doofus, please. Hour 4. Hey, man, these guys here at JAKIB, you know what? 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, marathon. Big Sills is here. Just hit the damn like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.